Hello and welcome to our webinar on why is Office 365 Mega. I'm Drew. I'm the guy that some of you have probably spoken to that organises the training and does the logistics work. We have Gemma here with us. She's our business development manager. She drums up new business and brings it in. And then we have Ben, that I guess some of you should have already met. So he's come in and done some training for us and that lot. Over to Gemma.
Hi, so what I'm going to talk to you today about is I'm going to go through a few things in Office 365 are really cool. Before I do that, I'm going to show you a little trick that I showed someone on a course last week around PowerPoint. Really nifty little thing where you can record your screen and create training material. But yeah, in Office 365, I'm going to pick out 3 things that are really good that we've been starting to use in Office 365 in our business. I'm going to show you something called the planner, which is a really cool to-do list. I'm going to show you how to make forms very quickly so you can gather information from your customers and people you work with. And I'm going to show you a little bit in OneDrive how you can back up and restore files. I'll prefix all of this with, although I have trainers that go out and do Office 365 training and they're really good, I myself am not an expert, so I'm going to kind of show you my experience of trying to implement this in the business. So I'm going to pass you over to Gemma and she's going to talk a little bit about how you can get involved.
So you've all got the option of clicking the Q&A button. You can click on that. If you've got any questions at any time, send them through to us. There's no such thing as a stupid question. We will answer as many as we can during the live chat. If there's anything that crops up that we're not sure of, we'll make sure that that gets sent out in an email afterwards. So you'll get your answer. Be it today or be it this afternoon. Yeah, so get involved, send anything that you've got through to us. And here's a little bit about what we can help you with. So we offer a full range of training. You can come to us, we can come to you, we can do this face-to-face or in a webinar setup like we've got now. We've also got a whole online recorded library we can give you access to, and that covers loads of stuff on the Microsoft Office applications, some of which you can see here, some that you'll have heard of, some that you won't, and there's more. There's much more that we cover by the icons that you can see here. So if you are thinking about getting Office 365 or you've got it and you're not quite sure that you're using it to its kind of full capacity, just drop us a message and we'll talk you through, tell you the sort of things that we can help you out with.
Brilliant. So thanks a lot. I'm going to go through and show you a few things now on Office 365, the planner. I'm going to show you a little bit with forms and a bit with OneDrive. I'm going to take my ugly mug off the screen as well, so there's a bit more space for you to sort of see what I'm doing on the screen. So I'm just going to get rid of my video there. But before I actually jump into the Office 365 stuff, I just want to show you one very, very quick and simple tip in PowerPoint that was really, really useful for a company that I've been working with recently, and I delivered a course. So give you the example, I was working with some people in HR and they were sort of saying, oh, we've got this new piece of kit in the office that everyone needs to understand how to use. Is there any way we can do some notes? And their first thing was they're going to go and do something in Word, write a load of notes, how to use this website or this piece of software. So there's this really nifty little thing in PowerPoint. If you've got, I think this was PowerPoint 2013 onwards, this came in on. But if you've got PowerPoint, obviously if you've got Office 365, we can go in and start a new presentation. Then if I go to the Insert tab, excuse me, there's a little button here called screen recording at the end. So let's say I want to put something in along the lines of, how do I add a customer to whatever system, right? I'm going to go and whack in a new slide. So I'm going to add in a video in here. So I go to Insert, Screen Recording. Now what it does, it kind of minimizes PowerPoint, okay? Then it allows you, can you see, to kind of draw over the screen where you want to record. So let's say you only want to record that little bit there, or you want to record the whole shebang. Can you see you can pick that? And then when you're ready, all we do, we hit record, gives you the 3, 2, 1, tells you a keyboard shortcut of how to stop it. And what it's now doing is it's recording, provided you've got a microphone and, you know, whatever you're doing on the screen, it's recording whatever you're getting up to. So me wiggling my mouse around, opening folders, you know, whatever you want to go for, okay? Anything you do on the screen, can you see I've moved the folder in? That'll be recorded in the PowerPoint. And then when you're ready, all you do, pop up to the top of the screen, hit stop, okay? And then what it's done within the PowerPoint presentation, can you see it's just dropped in a video that I can just plonk in there? So, you know, you've now got a PowerPoint presentation. You could build up as many of these videos as you want. And it's just a normal video file. So if I hit play,
keyboard shortcut of how to stop it.
Here we go.
On
Let's
screen,
just move it on a little
me
bit.
wiggling.
Can you see that's me wiggling the mouse around the screen, moving stuff? You probably can't hear the sound so much because I'm talking over the top of it, but this is instant training material, you know, much quicker than doing a manual. If you like the look of that, I know I whizzed through that really quickly. Do keep in mind, we'll send you a recording of this session afterwards. We'll put it on YouTube, so you know you can see those steps. I'll also send you a one-sheet wonder as well, with a little bit of a gist of how that works and all the other things I'm going to show you. Feel free to get in touch if you have got any questions with that after I've gone through the next few bits. Okay, so that was a quick little tip to show you, something that was quite useful on a recent course. But the main event, what you're here for, which is really, we need to talk about Office 365. So just to frame this a little bit, like I said before, we have trainers who are really good, go out and deliver this training all day long. But what I realized is, you know, we weren't putting our money where our mouth was in terms of Office 365 as a business. We weren't using it that much. So we've started to use this in the office, and it's a massive application. There's loads of things it does, but there's a few things that we found which are really good. One of which is this idea of the planner. Now, the planner is kind of like a to-do list on steroids. Now, when you log into your Office 365 control panel, you probably won't get as many options as what you see here. If you can't see planner, which can you see I've got it there, you can just click explore all your apps. And then if you scroll down, this is everything that I have in my subscription that I can do. So if I were to just click onto there, next time I come into my Office 365 apps, it will, you know, come up in the list for you. But if I just go back, so let me just click back onto here. So let's go back to my list. So there's my planner app. So if it's not there, you just click on Explore All Apps, go find it. But once I'm ready, I'm just going to click onto this and it'll pop into the planner, okay? Now, at first, it doesn't look like there's a lot to it, but let's create a new plan. So I'm going to create new plan. I'm going to call this plan, let's call it planning, let's call it party, right? Let's say we're going to plan a party. Now, there's a couple of different options in terms of what kind of plan you can create. Got a public plan and a private plan. Private plan is where you obviously invite members. Public plan is pretty much anyone in your organization can join. You can also, with the options, put a group description in there as well. I'm going to go private. I'm going to click create plan. Now, I'm going to fill a little bit. This bit can take a few moments to create. I'm guessing the reason is because what happens with a plan, it creates an Office 365 group. So it's doing a few things in the background to actually create this plan. Also, another little filler thing for you. If you're using Microsoft Teams, when you create a team, you can have a plan in a team and you can embed that in your Microsoft Teams. So here's my party, right? Now, at the moment, not a lot in there. The idea with this is we've got a plus button and we can add tasks, we can set due dates, we can assign stuff. There's also this clever idea of buckets at the top, and there's all sorts of views that you can do off the back of that. So let's talk about a few things we want to do. Let's say find, in fact, no, let's not do find a cake. Let's put food, okay? I'm going to add a task in. Can you see food appears down there? Add another task in here, entertainment, okay? Let's add that in there. Can you see entertainment, food? Can you see how easy it is to add in? Let's add another one in. Let's go for guests. Now, after you've added those tasks in, and you can add as many as you want, if you just want to use this as a very, very simple to-do list, can you see we've got the ability to just tick it? Can you see it's done? It will show at the bottom. You can bring it out of being complete very, very quickly and easily. That's not exactly amazing, but let's have a look at some more stuff we can do. If I click into, say, for instance, food, can you see there's a whole host of things we can do off the back of this? So what's the progress? Is it not started, in progress, complete, which I'll come back to in a bit? Do you want to specify start date? Do you want to specify due date? So maybe I want to have sorted the food out by, I don't know, 22nd of April. Can you see in the background, it adds a date in there. Now we can put a description in here. Let's chat about the options for grub. Obviously, it'd be a little bit more formal than this when you're doing stuff. Now, you've got an option here. Can you see show on card? If I tick that, close this task item down. Can you see it puts that item on the food there? If I click onto the food again, funny how I go straight to the food, isn't it? Anyone who's been on a course with me knows that's all I talk about. Let's go down here, checklist. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's say we need cake. We need some cheese. What else would we have at a party? What would we go for? Alcohol. Gemma's in for the alcohol there. As long as I can spell it.
Cocktail sausages.
Cocktail sausages. Don't pick words that I'm going to spell wrong. Excuse my spelling if I do spell anything wrong. Now, if I go back out of this, let's just come out of here. Can you see food now has 0 of 4? That means none of them have completed. There's 4 tasks. If I click back into food, instead of showing a description, I can tick show on card for the breakdown. Unfortunately, you can only have one of each one. But if I hit close, can you see now food, it's added those tick boxes in there. So, well, sorted the cake. Click onto that. Can you see it takes it out of the list? 1 of 4 completed. If I click back into food, can you see it's knocked it onto there? Add as many items in as you want. We can add file attachments. We can also add comments in there about what we've done, what we need to do. Now, a really, really clever thing we can do here is we can click assign as well. So if I come in here and type in, Gemma, she's in the same organization. Can you see it assigns Gemma? I could also assign Drew. This is Drew's email account. And can you see it adds them into the top? Now, they will get an email based on what I've assigned to them, saying you've been assigned a task. They will also, if they go into their planner, they will see the party plan in there. And can you see at the top, I've got UO. I'm logged in as user 1. I'm in as like a dummy account. That's GB, that's Gemma Bellworthy. WI, that's Drew's, contact us because he deals with pretty much everything. So he's got the main email account. But can you see it's assigned them in there? And again, we've been using this internally. The due date, I mean, you can attest to this. I put tasks in there and it does email a lot, doesn't it? And it will.
Anytime you put anything into the comments and below in that lot, it actually sends you an email.
Yeah.
And then also the fact is that it tells you a reminder that this is due or this is overdue.
Yeah. So the really cool thing I like about this, and this cuts both ways. I mean, I sound like I'm just dishing out the orders here, but if Drew or Gemma come up with something they think is a good idea, they can assign a task to me, and then Microsoft Planner does the chasing, reminds, because everyone's really busy. It's really easy to kind of forget what's going on, and I think it's really, really good. Look, you've also got, can you see I can label stuff off? Can you see color code it? You can also change those labels. I don't know, let's call this, I don't know, what can I call this? I'm great at coming up with an idea. I'm just going to put AA in there, really creative. Click onto that. Can you see that kind of tags that one there? You can also have views by those tags, views by who's got the item assigned, view by all sorts of different stuff, okay? One more thing, and I think we've had some questions come in, and we'll get Gemma to go through those in a moment. But one more quick thing, I've got this thing called a bucket, right? So at the top, this by default is the to-do bucket. I'm going to click into here. I'm going to call this one in progress. Add a new bucket. So bucket is a bit like a section, a category, sort of, so to speak. So maybe this bucket might be to start next. Then I might have another bucket here. Let's put it ideas to chat about. And you can have as many buckets as you want. It'll just put a scroll bar on there. But this is what I really like about this. Right, guests, I'm going to put in to start next. Entertainment, I'm going to put in to start next. Ideas to chat about. Let's have in here magician. God, I really can't spell, can I? And by the way, it's not a kids' party. You know, you can get adult. Let's just put that there. You can put adult magicians in. So here we go. Put in there. I don't know what else could we have. Photo booth. Yeah. So here we go. Let's put this in here. Benefit of going live here. Let's put photo booth in there. And again, you know, if you decide that's something you want to go for, photo booth to start next, I would then click into there. Pick someone who I want to sign it for, set a due date, put some breakdown in, you know, find out the cost, do this, do that, do the other, everything that goes towards photo booth. Does the venue allow the photo booth to come in? All this kind of jive, okay? So look, I've been waffling on. I think there's been some questions coming, haven't there?
There has. I think the one most relevant to this is from Alison. She's asking, can we add users that aren't within our organisation?
Right, Alison, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know the answer to that. But like we said at the start, anything that we don't know the answer to, I'm not going to sit here and completely bull you and come up with an answer. But like I said, what we'll do, we'll have a look into that and I'll come back to you. What I will try, actually, if I just show you here, when you do assign a task to someone, it does kind of make them a member of that plan. There is also members here. Let's just see if I can add in an email address that's external. Because quite a lot of what they're trying to do with this, here we go. Let's just put a fake email address in at me.com. Right, okay. It looks to me like it's organization centric. But again, this is something, take Teams that we've been using. That is by default very organization centric. I can't say the word, listen to me. But what they have started to build in is the ability to invite guests. And the cool thing about Office 365 is it's a continually evolving product. And one thing I'll put on the email when I send you out all the notes is there's actually a community where you can go and make suggestions and vote up feature requests. And they do listen to this as well, and it is pretty good. That's very much a ham answer of, you know, trying to figure it out there and then, but what I'll do is I'll have a little bit more of a look at that and just make sure that is definitely the case.
Okay, so we've had another question from Hayley saying access is not in the list. Hayley, I don't know whether you mean in the list that we showed of the training that we offer. We do. We can train on access. That's not a problem.
Ooh, yeah, it might be. Do you mean, so assuming you're talking about access databases not being on the
online version of Office 365?
It was in the list of apps on 365. Is that where you showed what you have?
So Hayley, the list of, so when we were talking in the initial presentation, we're talking about what we can go and deliver training for. That's not necessarily the apps that are in the online version of Office 365. So if we're talking about access databases, it's a bit of a weird one. Because you can build really quite complicated access databases, there's not really a fully fledged version of access built into Office 365. There used to be something called Outlook SharePoint web apps for access. They still support it. It's not something that they're keeping forever. And it's basically a cut down web version of access where you can build nice, quick database files. And it's all hosted in SharePoint. What they're trying to push people onto, and again, look, access is something we do a lot of. We've built a lot of our internal systems on access, like CRM, etc. But what they're trying to push people onto is something called Power Apps. which is really kind of mobile device centric database stuff. It's really quite clever what you can do with it. So yes, you can push Access databases into the cloud on Office 365. It uses SharePoint. There are nice wizards built into Access, but the online support for Access, I'm not going to lie to you, as an Access developer, is not exactly amazing for it, to be fair. But again, I'll pull some information together about that and put that into, you know, the email that we send out as well. And feel free to get in touch about that if you want to know more detail about Access stuff and how you could host online. There are other options for Access aside from Office 365 to host like legacy applications as well, which if anyone needs any help, let me know. Okay, so let's get back onto the planner stuff. So a couple more little bits to mention. So can you see, very, very simple, we've got tasks which can be broken down, they can be assigned, they can be categorized, they can be put into buckets. Buckets can be used to kind of, can you see, move stuff around? I mean, I've used in progress, to start next, ideas to chat about, call it whatever you want. You know, this could be, we could have sales regions, couldn't we? Sales region north, south, east and west, and we have all of our stuff that we want to do, and it could be around developing marketing material or strategies, etc. So whatever you want it to do. And this is why I like it, it's quite flexible, you know. But if we go up here, there's a few things that are quite good. If this is the default board. If I click onto board, that's what we've got there now. If I click onto charts, can you see it's kind of telling you, you know, what's, you know, per bucket, how many tasks you've got in a graph. We've got, you know, what haven't we started based on, you know, box has been ticked, etc. There's also, can you see the various members of the group, you know, how many tasks have been assigned. Schedule this, if you start using the to-do, you know, the due date, can you see food? Look at that, 20-second food. I can also, if I go back to the board or any of these, we've got, you know, do you want to filter it by, sorry, click on there, filter by when it's due. Can you see filter by the labels? I only want to see stuff that's been assigned to Gemma, user 1 or Drew. And can you see it just kind of filters the list for you? You can tick and untick what you do and don't want to see in terms of people and their assignments. We've got, look, different groupings. If I go into group by bucket, group by assigned to, look, there we go, unassigned, assigned to user 1. Look at me, I'm just dishing it out, I'm not doing anything myself. Gemma, Drew. So again, look, it's really flexible. I mean, there's a lot of projects we've done in the past that if I had access to this, would have been managed a million times better rather than shed loads of scrappy pieces of paper and, you know, sort of messing around.
Emails back and forth as well.
Yeah. I was just about to jump in and say it's reduced the amount of emails that we send each other. Can you just do this? Here's a reminder on this. Have you done this? If it's all in here, the emails are generated automatically. But that's saving us a job, and it's saving us having to remember kind of key information because it's here. It's in that list for us. And then having the charts tracking what has been done, you know, it's brilliant. And the uses for it in terms of kind of, you know, obviously we've just done a party, but putting this into your workplace, the users are kind of unlimited.
Yeah, no, it is used for a lot. So I think we've had another couple of questions there, haven't we?
Yeah, so Alison's just sent us a question. Can you restrict what the members can do? Can you stop them deleting or adding or view only?
Right, so I had a bit of a look into this because I mean we're a bit different because it's a very small team. I don't really want to have any restrictions on what we do. I just let the team put the tasks in. I put tasks in and we just use it to collaborate. It's like a whiteboard almost. The things I found along these lines are you can only, so within a plan you have owners and you have members. Owners of the plan can delete the plan, the whole plan. But members can't, okay? In terms of the ability to delete individual tasks, as far as I'm aware, anyone can do that. I will look into, because a lot of the Office 365 products, there is a whole administration area that sits behind all of them. I will look into that a bit more and we'll see if there's any you know, finite permissions that we can define and sort of change. So that, again, this email is going to get quite big, isn't it, looking at this? So I'll have a little bit of a look at that. So yeah, off the bat, there's some very definite permissions around can delete the whole plan, but the granular, can you delete tasks, can you add tasks? I'll look into that and come back to you. Okay, so I suppose, Alison, that's the same as what you're saying there, or view only, isn't it? All rolled into the same sort of thing here. Right, we've had another one as well.
Yeah, another one from Hayley. Can you decide what goes into the automated emails, and can you edit these?
I don't think you can.
No, once you've sent it through the comments, so basically when you're doing the task, it sends it through as an email and it just stays like that.
Yeah, it's a fairly generic email that comes through to the inbox, and it's not really an email saying this is what the task is about. It's more, you've been assigned a task, go to planner.
Yeah, you've been assigned a task, and the other one that we've had is you've got a task that's due. So yeah, it will give you a nudge if you haven't done anything on the planner in relation to that.
Yeah, but again, you know, even in the time we've been starting to use and adopt, I mean, again, go back to Teams, they've added new features into that as well since we've been starting to use it, and that is really the last couple of months tops. You know, so they are continually evolving this, and this is the sort of thing. I mean, one of the big things they're trying to do, there's a product called Slack, which is a collaboration software. Microsoft Teams is kind of their competition to that, and they're rolling everything into Teams. And a planner is one of the big things they are seeing as rolling it into Teams. So that'll get pulled along with all of this development on Teams. So, you know, it's one of those that I personally think there'll be a lot more features and stuff that will get added in. Whether that will be the case, Hayley, I don't know. But yeah, really, we found them to be pretty good, you know, because we just want the emails as, you got something to do, you need to sort something, not necessarily here's all the detail, because really, once that email comes in, I mean, I've been just deleting them, going to planner, doing my thing, keeping my inbox nice and clean. Is that similar for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just that little notification really more than anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap run through-ish, remind you of what we've talked about planner. To give anyone the opportunity that have got any questions they can ask. And after that, we'll have a very, very quick break where with Ala Blue Peter got a few pre-recorded tips and a couple of cheesy adverts for you to watch. It lasts about a minute or so. But yeah, look, just give you an opportunity to think of any questions you've got. You know, planner is create a plan for whatever you want, allow you to kind of assign tasks, collaborate with people in your organization. We can break those tasks down, assign due dates. We can create this idea of buckets and very, very fluidly move around stuff. Oh, as well, one thing I forgot. See down the bottom, get the planner app. Get the planner Windows app, get the planner phone app. I've got look at me, I'm like a planner salesman. The planner app I've got on my phone, it's a bit limited. You've not got a massive screen, but it's pretty similar, and they've been really good at doing this. It's pretty similar to what you get in the web page. So really, really good. They are doing a good job at kind of being where you need to be to do the work. So look, I tell you what, no more questions are coming. I'm just going to show you, I'm going to start this little tip video run off for you. A few tips in there, some stuff I've recorded before. Just to let you know as well, these tips I'm going to play to you, they appear on my LinkedIn. Probably twice a week, I post a tip video. And this is a sort of thing that we send on the tips email as well. And then after this, we'll come back and we'll start talking about Microsoft Forms, and I'll show you a bit about OneDrive. See you in a little bit.
Hello, Ben Woodthorpe from Woodthorpe IT Solutions. Really, really quick 30-second tip for you here. When you're in Outlook, if you type something into an email which is all uppercase, you leave your caps lock on. Very quick way of sorting this out is to drag over the text, Shift F3 on your keyboard, and can you see it will cycle through all of the different permutations of case. So if it's all uppercase, drag over, Shift and F3, and can you see it will change the case.
Hey, all the pain been through, we charge it to the game. Nothing was the same, nah. For the blood we shed too, we charge it to the game.
Hi, Ben from Woodthorpe IT Training. Really quick trick in Excel. If you need to see all of the formulas within your spreadsheet, you go to the Formulas tab, and then roughly 2/3 along there's a button here called Show Formulas, and if I click onto that, what you'll notice is, if I just quickly zoom out, every single formula displays as a formula. If I click on the same button again, so Formulas tab and Show Formulas, can you see it reveals the answers? So if you inherit a spreadsheet from someone and you don't know what's going on, really quickly you can reveal what's going on behind the scenes.
Hi, Drew here. Hope you enjoy the tips and the animal videos. We have started to do some LinkedIn and Facebook business page training. Now back over to Ben.
Thanks, Drew. So, look, I'm going to try something that we've never done before on one of these webinars. It sounds really exciting, but it's actually a bit dull, but let's see how we get on. There should be a button somewhere on the webinar software, which is, it's like, it says raise hands. So this may or may not work. I'm going to ask a question, and if your answer is yes, if you could click the raise hands button, and it gives us a bit of an idea of where everyone is. So if you use Office 365 in your organization, you know, you have access to it, could you raise your hands, please? So we've got a good sort of amount of people here, to be fair. I'd say probably just over a third to half, yeah, of people that have actually got access to Office 365. So I'm going to lower everyone's hands. So my next question is, if you haven't got Office 365, is it something that your organization is looking into? If that's the case, could you just say yes, raise your hands? Okay, so there's a few people there. Brilliant. No, that's really good. I just wanted to do a little bit of a poll, slightly less people there. It's just interesting to see, you know, where everyone is and, you know, why they've come to the webinar, and really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So look, what we're going to go for next, I'm going to show you something called Microsoft Forms. Okay. Now, if you've had a training course with me recently, I've probably shown you this because I think it's really cool. And you're probably still thinking, "Oh, Ben's going on about Microsoft Forms again. What a boring! He's got nothing to talk about, right?" So let me show you. It's really worth a few minutes. I have done a more detailed webinar on this in the past, which is on our YouTube channel, which you get sent a link to. So if you want more detail, by all means, go to this. But let me show you the gist. So I'm going to go into, and I'm not going to do this from the Forms menu. I'm going to do this from OneDrive. And we're going to look at some other stuff with OneDrive as well. So I'm going to click onto OneDrive from my menu just here. Now, once I'm in my OneDrive, which this is basically your online storage, which I'll talk about in more detail in a bit, I'm going to go at the top to where it says New, pop the arrow down, and I'm going to go and do an Excel workbook. You can do this straight from a link down here, but I'm going to show you the kind of the background of what this does. So I'm going to click Excel workbook. And what this will do, this will create a blank Excel workbook. And look, here's another really cool thing about Office 365. Let's say I'm on a computer that I don't have Excel installed, you know, I'm on someone else's equipment and I want to get to my documents. Well, as long as I know my username and password, I can go and create documents in my OneDrive, which is effectively your My Documents. And it's just the same in the web browser. There's a few things they take out, but it is fairly close to, you know, what you get in the offline version. So I'm going to go to Insert at the top, and there's a thing in the online version of Excel which you don't get in the offline, which is called Forms. So I'm going to pop this arrow down here, and I'm going to click New Form. And before I do that, notice, can you see there's nothing in this sort of tab here? It's completely blank. So I'm going to click New Form just there. Now it takes a moment to come up, but basically this is a form. I mean, I know there's nothing in it, but let's say, here we go. Let's go along the party theme. Tell me about what you want for the party, right? And then let's put in here, the more you go in, the better. Okay, so can you see there's a title, some description, you can put some notes in there. Okay, you can theme this as well, which I'll show you that in a bit, but the general idea of this is, look, add a question, right? First question, text. I want to know the name of the person, so I'm going to put in here your name. So if they put something, I want to get back in touch with them, I know who it is. I want that name to be required. They've got to fill that in, right? You got this idea of a long answer or a short answer. It's just bigger box, smaller box. So you'd leave it unticked as long, from long answer for name, because that's just a few bits of text. But if you want comments, you'd tick long answer. So next thing is add a question. I don't know. Let's go for choice. Do you have any dietary requirement? Whoa, great choice for this, Ben. And if you want to correct me with any spelling, by all means do. Here we go. No meat. Let's put in here. No dairy. And let's say, I don't know, someone might not like cake. So can you see you can put as many as you want? There's options. And look, do you want people to be able to tick just one? Because someone might not want meat, not like dairy. So we'd tick multiple answers so they can tick more than one, or you only want them to tick one choice. Is it required, yes or no? Quite a lot of these things have more options. So do you want to turn it into a drop-down box? Do you want to shuffle the options? Because think about this, I'm doing this to ask people about, what do they want in the party? But if I did shuffle options, this could be a quiz, couldn't it? And every single time we ask these questions, the responses could be shuffled. So the quiz looks a little bit different each time someone runs it. So there's lots of flexibility in what you can use this for. So can you see it's starting to build that form up? If I go to preview, here we go. Look, computer, that's what it's going to look like on a computer. Mobile, how cool is this? Look, this is what it's going to look squished down on a mobile phone. So example of what I use this for internally is, if we're on projects, I have timesheets that I send out to whoever's working on whatever project. They just put their name in, how much time they spent, a bit of a note. They do it on the phone. They don't even go on the computer because they've just got their phone by their side of where they're working. No thought, put a favorite on the desktop, jobs are good in. And this used to be the sort of thing that, take it 6-7 years ago, you'd be paying a developer a lot of money to do this. If I go back, let's add another question. Let's put in here, let's go for text, any random comments here. I'm going to make that a long answer. Because these are comments, they could be optional. I'm not going to require them. Add another question. Let's go for a rating. What did you think of the last party? By the way, we do work here. It's not all party. It sounds like we're all excited, but pop that down. Can you see we've got like different levels of stars? You get the idea. I definitely want to know, did they like the last party? Once I'm ready, so that's kind of my, what it looks like, the questions. I'll go to theme. What color do you want it to be? Yeah, these standard ones. Do you want an alien looking sort of like ocean thing, or do you want some potions in the background? I'm guessing not. You're a business. You can go add. You can pick a picture. Go and find it. Oh, here we go. Let's go find it from Bing. Let's go. I want a car in the background. Be aware, can you see you are responsible for respecting other people's rights for copyright. So if you're going to use Bing, make sure you got permission to use that picture if you're going to make it public. So you could pick a picture that I'd put it in the background. Go to your OneDrive, go and pick a picture from your OneDrive, upload it, that I'd put it in the background. Now look, I'm going to stick with this nice background here as well. So can you see you can style it, After that, we can click on share. We get a link. Can you see here, which we can copy and paste into an email. We can choose who can fill it in. Only people in the organization can respond. Anyone with the link can respond. So this opens up all sorts of things. I mean, the amount of vendor forms we have to fill in to do what we do is crazy. Every new customer, it's a vendor form. Now we fill a Word document in, we then email that Word document to the vendor, you know, the company we're working for, sorry. They then must have to copy and paste it in a lot of cases into a system. Well, I'll show you in a minute. This just stacks all of the inputs into an Excel spreadsheet, which you can then just copy and paste wherever you want. Now you've got more options as well. Instead of just picking from the share, if I go to the 3 dots, now I'm not going to go into this because of time, but branching allows you to change the form based on some of the inputs. So for instance, we're branching. If someone ticked, I don't want dairy or I don't want meat, you could have different questions later on in the questionnaire based on that response. So you can get massively sophisticated with this. But I'm going to go to settings, more options. Anyone with the link can respond, only people in the organization. If it's people in the organization, I only want one response. I don't want duplicates. Do you want to record their username? But I'll leave it with anyone. Here we go. Accept responses. Do you want to accept them? You can turn the form off. Start date, end date. Do you want to shuffle your questions? Let's say it's a quiz. Do you want to get an email saying that, you know, you've had someone inputting into your questionnaire, you know, every single time an input goes in there? So look, all I do, I'm going to click onto share now, grab my link. Okay. What I'll also do as well, again, this, see if I can do this. Oh, no, I was going to say I'll post it in so you can fill it in. I can't do that. So I'll have to do a sort of like a pretend one here. But look, I'm going to close this form down. So copy the link, close this form down. And what you'll notice is, can you see in the Excel spreadsheet, I've got a new tab called Form 1. You could rename it. Can you see, look, start time, completion time, email, name, your name. So everything, you know, up to column D, that's stuff that if you did it in your organization, it's going to fill that stuff in automatically. If you've said just people in the organization, everything from E onwards, look, your name, do you have any dietary requirements, any random comments, they're the things I actually filled in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open Edge in an in private session. So this is almost like I'm not on my computer when it comes to Office 365. So imagine I clicked on the link. Oh, you gotta love that background, eh? Look at that. It's cool, proper pro. So here we go. I'm going to put, here we go, John Smith. John Smith hates cake, you know, bad times. I'm going to make sure we know he hates cake. Right, last party, that's pretty good. I'm going to hit submit. Can you see there, thanks? If you want to submit another, you've got a link there. I'm just going to minimize this, and here's the cool thing. Look at that. In that spreadsheet, John Smith, no cake, no cake. Can you see it's put those results in? You could have sent this out to 1,000 people, and they're all filling in their responses, what you want to do. And because it's in Excel, we can start doing things like pivot tables, subtotals, filtering it, conditional formatting, all that sort of stuff. And I'll show you a little bit of this in a moment. If you set your OneDrive to sync, well, technically now, that file goes offline into your OneDrive on your computer. So you can work on it offline, add more stuff into it. And again, look, you know, you can tell I like forms, I'm getting a bit excited about it, but look, submit another one. Here we go, Jane Smith. Wow, here we go, no meat. Let's put in here, boom, pow. Right, Jane loved the last party. Submit, right, close that down. It might take a moment. Can you see there, Jane Smith appears? Brilliant, absolutely amazing. I mean, look, I go into that tab, pop the arrow down on forms, edit form. Can you see that? I can go back in, make changes to that form if I want to. You know, I can play around with the look and feel. I've got the add question box. Only you as the user who created that form can make those changes. If I come out of this, in fact, I'm going to rename this first instead of, it won't let me rename it because I've got people filling it in. Should have done that at the start. But if I come out of this, let's go back into my OneDrive. So from my menu, OneDrive, there we go. There'll be one in the root. Can you see book one? Just because I didn't name it. Click onto that. Here we go. Whenever I want, I just go in there. There's my responses. And if I'd have set up a notification, I'd get a notification email as well. So, I mean, things we've used this for, we started doing a lot of work with building industry, and we had a lot of courses to put on. Rather than having to phone everyone, we just sent a link out sort of saying, these are the courses you can book on, and the responses just stacked up, rather than having to manage 50 million emails. So I'm looking there, we don't have any questions. So hopefully that's something that people just like.
Show of hands.
Yeah.
Show of hands. Yeah. You like
You're
that?
being too easy on us, everybody.
Oh, here we go. 3, 4. Hey, there's quite a few that like that. Brilliant. No, that's smashing. Again, look, there's another webinar we did in the past. The recording of that is on the YouTube channel. So feel free, go back and have a little bit of a look at that whenever you want. So last main thing I want to show you, and I suppose I'm kind of showing you this arse about face. I'm showing you OneDrive last, when really it's kind of one of the core parts of Office 365. So I'm going to minimize this down, right? Can you see on my desktop, I've got an icon there for OneDrive. If I double click onto OneDrive, this, it's just come up on my other screen. If I just move this across, can you see this folder, monthly reports, notebooks, webinar files, weekly reports, book 1? Can you see that's the one I did with the form? Can you see at 11:44 something was entered into it? So that'll be the file that all of the responses for the form have gone into. But can you see I've got an offline version, and there's an app that you install on your computer that syncs everything from the website. So if you are using OneDrive and you don't want to go to the online website, you can just use your files in OneDrive as if they're a normal, your My Documents or a folder on your desktop. But the benefit of this is anything that you do. So for instance, let's just take this here. I'm just going to create a new Excel file. Let's just call it test file. Anything you do, if you drag it into there, the OneDrive app syncs it straight online. Can you see I've got a little tick? If I go back to the website, can you see it's in the website as well? So if you truly don't like using the online website, you've got, can you see a really nice, easy to use, not really changing it much from what you're already doing. And I tell you here now, one of the best things about this, and this bit does involve the online website, is that as soon as you drag stuff into there, it gets backed up. If you work offline, say on a train or whatever, then connect to the internet, as soon as your computer hits the internet, it starts backing up any changes you've made to those files, to your online copy. Also, if you have your OneDrive installed on more than one computer, any change you make on this particular computer will be rippled through to all of the computers. So, no messing around with memory sticks, none of that jive. No sort of like, oh, rubbish, have I worked on the right file?
Yeah, emailing it to yourself.
Yeah, all this sort of crud. It's an absolute pain in the backside. These are the sort of things that, people struggle with. It's not getting the work done. It's like, I've negotiated moving files around, it's really, really good. So first stop-off point is get it syncing in your OneDrive app, and it's dead easy to do. How you get that working is you log into Office 365. So let me just go back a step or two. Let's get rid of this. So you log into Office 365, and if OneDrive isn't there, which it will be, it's the main app, you click on Explore all your apps, click onto this, just like so. Go to your main root of your folder, click Sync. It's as easy as this. Follow through a wizard, and it syncs it for you, and it's there. Even opens the folder and tells you where it is afterwards. And that's really good. I'm not going to waste time showing you the details of that, because that is a nice, easy wizard. If anyone needs help, let me know. We've got a how-to. I can send it out, not a problem. But let's have a look at some really cool features inside OneDrive that we can do. So cool feature number 1. I'm going to go to my weekly reports, and you have to be online for this. There's a file which I added in earlier on before the webinar. So this is a dummy account that we use for training. So you can move stuff around, you can create folders in the online version, brilliant, jobs are good. But instead of just doing that, if I right click on it, there's loads of options in here. Do you want to share that file, which I'll come back to in a moment? Do you want to download it, delete it? Look, these are fairly standard options that you're familiar with in your File Explorer. But let me go down to this one, version history. Click onto that. Look at this. So this was me playing around with it earlier on. Every single time I go into that file in the online or the offline version of Excel, because this is an Excel file, hit save, close it. Every single time I do anything, it's going to save a version of that file in that list. So you know that instance where you go in on a Friday, you're in a rush, you delete something by mistake, you're like, oh crap, I've lost that stuff, I've got to get it restored. You end up getting in touch with IT, they have to do a restore from a backup, and it might be next Tuesday or Wednesday you get that. So you just think, oh, to hell with it, I'll just recreate that stuff. Well, don't bother. Come along, log into your OneDrive, right click, version history, provided it's stored in OneDrive, right click on any of these versions, restore it, open the file. You can get rid of a version, you don't want it. So can you see it puts the control of your files and what you're doing with them in your hand, rather than having to wait for a busy, overworked IT department to get back to you with something that's, you know, reasonably simple that you want them to do, but they're just too busy to help you. So that's one really, really good thing about OneDrive. There's others. I'm not going to lie to you. This is just a very small subset. The other thing which is really good, I'm going to go to Files. I'll go to this webinar files just here. So look, for instance, I've got a video in there. I've got the show notes that we've prepared for this webinar. You can, first of all, you can co-author. So I can share this file with someone else in the organization or outside. You can both work on it at the same time. You can also send a link to any one of these files or this folder and allow people to access these files whenever you want. All you do is if you want to share a file, right click on the file. Can you see there, share? How do you want to share it? Can you see it gives you the control? Anyone with the link? That's anyone. You know, you've got to be pretty sure you want to do that. So they don't have to log in, don't have to be part of your organization. Only people who work with you, specific people, yeah? So you're going to specify an email address. This could be people outside the organization. Do you want to allow them to edit? Do you not want to allow them to edit? Once I'm ready, if I hit apply, you would put your the email address that you want to send this to. Here we go. Let's put my fake email address in there. Pick it off. It will pull it up if you typed it before. Tells you that they're not in the organization. Also, some of these options depend on how your IT administrator have allowed you to share. We've got a Manila, no lockdown. I don't stop anyone from doing anything in OneDrive IT because we want to learn it. You can add a message. This is what's going to be sent. If you hit send, it's going to just send them an email with a link to the file with that message. Or if you look, you can click copy link. Can you see there? Copy that, paste it in an email, you know, in the body of something, send it off. Okay. So what you'll notice now, oh, I didn't actually finish sharing that. Let me just share this again. Sorry about this, I didn't hit send. benwoodthorpe@acme.com. Let's hope there isn't actually a benwoodthorpe@acme.com. And this is a test. And I'm just going to hit send. Okay. So that's now sent a nice little email. What you'll notice on the far end, can you see, look, private, shared. Yeah. So it's telling you who you've shared. You know, we can go into that and we can revoke any access. So here's the thing. You email a file to someone, they've got that file. You email a link to someone, they've got that file whilst you give them the link, and you can revoke that access, yeah, which is really, really good. They don't have separate copies, they're on the live version, rather than, can you see the, you know, the version you emailed to them yonks ago. And if I go to this section here called shared, look, what's been shared with me, what's been shared by me. Can you see there's what I've shared? So here's a really cool thing. You can actually, can you see control and look at what you've sent out, what you've had shared with you. And that is another advantage over email, because do you remember all of the files you sent out via email that might be sensitive over the last month? Well, here we go. OneDrive, there's your list. Oh, right. So I think, has there been a question, Gemma?
Yeah, so Alison has sent us a question. She wants to know, is there a limit to the number of versions that it saves? Can it clear itself down? Or is there a size limit?
Right, okay.
That's come from Audrey. Is there a size
No,
limit?
both really good questions. Do you know what? This email is going to be massive when I send it out. Loads of questions. So, as far as I'm aware, in terms of number of versions, it's 5,000. Yeah. In terms of clearing itself down, I don't know of a way of you controlling that other than I think you can set a retention policy to like 30 days. Again, look, let me, in terms of clearing it down, let me have a look at that and come back to you with something a bit more concrete. Audrey's asking the size limit again. Drew's found something here. Right, yeah, so you can upload a file of up to 10 gigabytes to your OneDrive, so that would be a size limit. I don't believe the versions go towards your total amount of space you have for your OneDrive. So take, for instance, our OneDrive. I think we get a bit over a terabyte each, which is massive amounts of space. It's huge. I mean, I'm prolific at storing rubbish in my OneDrive, and I'm nowhere near filling my size limit. And that goes up depending on how many users are in your organization. There's a weird calculation that Microsoft do. So yes, a 10 gigabyte per file size limit, it would appear. I'm pretty sure that the versions don't count towards that. So one file with 5,000 versions would still count as 10 gigabytes because it's just looking at versions of that. And it's this idea of it. I suppose if you use a Mac, it's a bit like a time machine. It's like going back in time, really. Yeah, Alison is asking 5,000 versions per document. Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. So, you know, I know I'm banging on a lot here about it's really good if you've got it, start trying to use it, because you know I was in a place last week, really big fashion brand, you know, global brand. You know, there's probably 30 brands in that company. Each company's maybe got 500 people working in that brand. They've all got Office 365. No one's using OneDrive. They're all storing stuff on their desktops. They're all doing their My Documents. All they need to do is sync it, drag the stuff into there, and you get all of these benefits, all of these additional things like backup, version control, all that sort of stuff. And it's not much further reach. And then you get all the forms stuff. And if you start delving into it, there's Planner. There's all sorts of things that Office 365 does, you know, beyond what even we're showing you today. But yeah, I mean, Gemma and Drew, have you got anything that you want to sort of?
The only thing for me is you will have people in your organisation that are saving things to their desktop, and if they've got a laptop, they take that laptop home. It gets stolen, it gets damaged. The kids spill some juice on it. That's done. That's a lot of valuable information that's just gone. And you know, by using your OneDrive, you're just so much more secure, and you've got that peace of mind that if anything happens to that laptop, you've still got that data.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Gemma's bang on, because I mean, yeah, look, you me, I'm klutzy as hell, stand on my laptop. I've spilled a bottle of water on a laptop before now. I have. You know, it tanks the laptop, but all you have to do, go down PC World, get a spare laptop, log into your OneDrive, and it downloads all your stuff. Yeah. Have we got another?
Yeah, so Alison sent us another question. Can you share on OneDrive? Can you share folders on OneDrive?
Yeah, you can. So yeah, if I show you here, if I go back into my files, let's just right click on a folder. Can you see there, share? Yeah. Now, same options as a file, share the folder. One thing I found really good with this is we will get questions after a course. You know, I've done a course, how do I do this one particular thing? And I used to send emails out, but we have an online training library, which we have in a system that you can log in, and it does quizzes, all that kind of stuff. But I have those videos stored in another place. It's actually a SharePoint site. So now, rather than writing an email, someone asks me a question, if we've got a video, I will share that video, or I'll create a folder with 2 or 3 videos in it, share that folder with whoever needs help. And the cool thing about when it's a video in a folder, it's a bit like a playlist of videos. So when they click on the folder share link, they can actually click on the video and it plays in the browser. So there's all sorts of clever things like that as well. So yeah, Alison, you can share folders as well, and that can be really, really effective. So look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass over to Gemma. She's going to do a little bit of a wrap up of some housekeeping stuff. And you know, if you've got any questions, you know, take this opportunity to type them in. And you know, before we finish, if any more questions come in, we will try and answer them. But yeah, over to you, Gemma.
Yeah, so please leave us some feedback. When we close the session, it will ask you for some feedback, but we'll put a link to the feedback in the email that comes out to you. We'll send you a recording of this session, so don't feel like you've you know, have to retain all the information. You can rewatch it. Feel free to share it with anybody else in your organisation. You know, we don't mind that. If you think of anything afterwards, if you go away and have a try at this and you think, oh, I'm not quite sure on how to do something, just send us a message, ask us. You know, we're quite happy to help. And yeah, if you've got any topics that you want us to cover on the next webinar, please send those to us. Otherwise, we just have a think and pluck something out in there. But if you want something specific, say, and if we can put a training session together on it, we will do that for you. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And yeah, get in touch. We'll speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Brilliant. No, so thank you very much, Gemma and Drew, for helping me along today. I'd have been stuffed with that. Yeah, keep me going and keep you on track. I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm just going to play you a quick roundup video and look forward to seeing you again on a future webinar. Thank you very much.